March 17th, 2019. A quiet Sunday night in our neighborhood. The air was still, and most homes had already gone dark, their residents lost in dreams of the coming week. But inside one house, terror was about to unfold. A robbery so brutal, so meticulously planned, that it left everyone in shock. I do not have actual visuals for this story, but stay with me because this case is so disturbing, so unbelievable, that you will want to hear every single detail. This is the story of the most terrifying robbery in my neighborhood, a crime that shattered the peace of a once safe street. The robbers did not just take valuables, they left a trail of fear and blood behind them. And as police scrambled to find clues, one thing became clear. This was not a random crime, the planning of a perfect crime. This was no ordinary burglary. The criminals behind it had been watching, waiting, and planning for weeks. The Patel family who lived in the targeted house followed a strict routine, one that made them perfect victims. Mr. and Mrs. Patel, along with their two children, Aryan aging 20 and Ria aging 10, lived in a large two-story home at the end of Oak Ridge Lane. Every night, they locked their doors at exactly 10:30 p.m. Aryan, the older son, always stayed up late playing games in his room, while Ria, the youngest, was asleep by 9 p.m. But the robbers knew more than just their habits. They had inside information. A former house cleaner had unknowingly given away key details about where the family kept their valuables. The robbers had even managed to duplicate a key to the back door, ensuring they could enter without a single sound. The break-in, 2:45 a.m. It was pitch dark when three masked men crept toward the Patel house. The leader, later identified as Mark Wilson, was a seasoned criminal, known for never leaving a trace. Using the duplicate key, they unlocked the back door and entered silently. Inside, everything was just as they had expected. The living room was empty. The security alarm, disabled days earlier by cutting the wires in the basement. Something that could only be done by someone who knew the house's layout. The plan was simple: take everything valuable and leave within 20 minutes. But things did not go as planned. A house full of sleeping victims. Mr. and Mrs. Patel slept in the master bedroom upstairs. Their daughter Ria had her own room next to theirs, while Aryan's room was at the end of the hallway. The robbers moved quickly, forcing open drawers, ransacking jewelry boxes, and stuffing cash into backpacks. Within minutes, they had gathered over $150,000 worth of gold, electronics, and money. But then something happened that changed everything. Aryan woke up. The fatal resistance. Hearing the faint rustling outside his room, Aryan got up. The moment he opened his door, he came face to face with one of the intruders. Most people would freeze in fear. Not Aryan. Without thinking, he lunged at the robber, trying to fight him off. But before he could make a sound, Mark Wilson grabbed him from behind and covered his mouth. Aryan fought, kicked, scratched, bit. But the robbers knew they had seconds before the rest of the family woke up. And in those seconds, they made a brutal decision. One of them pulled out a hunting knife and plunged it into Aryan's stomach. Once, twice, 3 times. He gasped, hands clutching the wound, blood soaking through his shirt. He tried to scream, but nothing came out. His body hit the floor, lifeless. The robbers stood still for a second. The house was still quiet. No one else had woken up. They had just killed a boy, and no one even knew. The escape. Vanishing without a trace. Realizing they had minutes before someone discovered the murder, the robbers finished their job. They wiped down surfaces, collected their stolen goods, and rushed out the same way they had come in. No fingerprints, no DNA, no evidence left behind. By the time the sun rose, they were miles away, spending stolen money like nothing had happened. Meanwhile, inside the Patel house, the horror was only beginning. The investigation. Small clues, big break. Mrs. Patel was the first to wake up. At first, everything seemed normal, but then she saw it. A trail of blood leading to Aryan's room. Her screams shattered the morning silence. The police arrived within 15 minutes, but the robbers had been too careful. No security footage, no fingerprints. The back door lock had not even been broken. It looked like a perfect crime, but no crime is truly perfect. The tiny mistake that solved the case. Detectives combed through every inch of the house. And then they found it, a single thread, a tiny piece of black fabric stuck on Arian's fingernails. Evidence that he fought back. DNA analysis confirmed the material matched a rare type of tactical gear, the same kind used by a small gang of robbers operating in the area. Police cross-referenced past cases and narrowed down suspects. Within 2 weeks, a sting operation led to an abandoned warehouse where stolen jewelry was being stored. Inside, they found a bag of stolen goods, including Mrs. Patel's gold necklace. Mark Wilson and his crew were arrested trying to sell the stolen goods. Justice and aftermath. The 3 men were sentenced to life in prison for robbery, murder, and home invasion. But the scars they left behind, those will never heal. Aryan Patel, a boy who fought for his family, was gone. His parents never moved back into that house. And the neighborhood? It was never the same again. This robbery was not just about stolen money or valuables. It was about how fragile safety truly is. And if there is one thing to learn from this story, it is that crime can strike anyone, anywhere, when they least expect it. What do you think about this case? Let me know in the comments, and if you want more true crime stories like this, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because the world is full of stories waiting to be told, and I will be here to tell them all. Stay safe, stay aware, and until next time, good night.